and we are streaming on lichess, of course. I'm going to be playing blitz and classical chess. Any time control between 5-3 and 8-3. Welcome to Challenge Me. Regardless of your rating, welcome all challenges. Anyone basically with an established account, something more than like 50 rated games, here on lichess is welcome to challenge. No rating minimum. We've got challenges from some regulars here. Aldisto, World Loser, Mule Skinner, and Blue Crow. You're also welcome to challenge to Chess 960, but I think our Chess 960s are filled up. We've got 2 Chess 960 challenges. Aldisto for the first time challenging me to Chess 960, and Blue Crow. We usually play about 11 games per stream, so I think that the 2 Chess 960 games is like more than around 20% of the game, so it doesn't become a Chess 960 stream. What's this? Some strong players playing there in, wow, FIDE against Sexy Chessman. That's pretty strong. 26 and 2700. All right, guys. We're gonna get started in a minute. Sorry for the delay, but I had to take care of some technical issues. We're doing the stream Monday to Friday, and every day is something usually a little different. Yesterday we had weird opening stream. Today is just an average day. We're playing any time control between 5-3 and 8-3, which means like 5-3, 5-4, any kind of increment, 3 to 5 seconds. Time control is between 5 and 8 minutes. The max is 8 plus 3. Let's get started, since we are a little behind schedule here with Aldisto. We have the dreaded knight on A1 against Aldisto. I'd like to take a little bit of time here to just evaluate where the pieces are at. Kingside castling looks like a no-brainer, if you want to call it the kingside, and this knight is going to be a problem. The other issue will be, how do we get this bishop and this knight into the game? You could consider something like c3 and a3, but that looks rather weakening. We could just play knight b3, or maybe something like c3 or c4, d4, knight c2 later on. Alright, we're going to play knight f3, defer the question till later. I suppose I can set up e4 or e3 and get my queen out and castle kingside. If you want to think about the game in terms of controlling the center, the knight contributes to that. But there is a small issue. I mean, he played d5, which is a good move. Maybe I should have opened with d4. This is objectively a stronger move, I guess. And like a queen pawn game where he's got bishop g4, I've got to be aware of that. It's not an earth-shaking threat, but it would disrupt my pawn structure. So again, the knight on a1 could be a really serious liability long term. Alright, let's consider what's happening here. If I go symmetrical, I would think bishop f5 would be good for black. And like any exchange in the future with c3 would be an issue. So maybe I'll play c3. This is kind of quiet opening. Orbitich, welcome. Plukro says, what? b3 and c4 and knight c2. Yeah, that actually makes sense. Maybe much better than what I did. b3 and c4, like an English opening with the bishops being kettled. You secure the knight coming to c2 later on. I like that better than what I did for sure. Basically, I played c3 to avert bishop f5. If he gets that in before I played c3, I'm going to be in kind of an awkward situation. And then the same thing applies if I play knight c2 and he plays bishop f5. I've got a problem now. I've got a problem anyway with this really, really bad knight. Yeah, I think retrospectively it would have been much better. Looks like a really weak queen pawn opening for white. Okay, his pieces are suffering from the same problems. I have to remember he has a bad knight too. His queen has the same problems as my queen, so my position isn't as bad as I'm making it sound like. Orbitich, yeah, I like to mix in some chess 960, makes it fun. It's also good for your chess game. I'm not sure about other variants. You know, ultimately, maybe nothing really hurts your game, but I would think that playing too much of some of the weirder variants could alter the way you play normal chess, which wouldn't be good. But I don't think that chess 960 could really have any negative side effects as far as your normal game is concerned. So, it's a Slav, basically, with the pieces on strange squares, reverse Slav. Oh man, I just poured some water into a glass with some, like, iced tea in it. I didn't realize there was still something in the glass. It's like a really watered down iced tea now. Pretty gross. Alright, c5, shall we take? Or what here? I'm not a Slav defense player, so this is a little alien for me. I don't play the Kali system either. Taking on c5, trying to hold on to that pawn in some fashion might actually be good, come to think of it. I mean, with the knight on a1, I wonder, is this not a good space? A good place to take on c5 and defend it with a knight. Yeah, it's worse than water. You're a big fan of chess 960 as it deviates from opening theory, but it's also very constructive. I mean, in learning and improving your understanding of the coordination of the pieces, I think here maybe I ought to consider b4. When we have more or less kind of semi-Slav, where we grab the pawn. I felt this was justified by my knight positioning. Kind of an ideal situation for the knight to grab this pawn and try to hold on to it. I'm not normally a very materialistic chess player, but I wasn't really enthused about my opening, and I feel like c5 is a risky move for black. You know, he doesn't have a typical position where it's easy to regain this pawn. I mean, it's not like there's a knight going to d2 or a6 where he just grabbed the pawn with natural development. He had to play e5, threaten to take it with the queen, and that's not going down. His queen remains kind of misplaced, and although he has a strong center, admittedly, still, I'm not sure if it's quite enough to justify giving up a pawn. Word Loser said, "What? I've not turned off the computer and I walked away. I've not seen your invitation." Anyway, guys, welcome. I'm International Master William Paschall. I'm from the United States originally, live in Hungary. We also have a YouTube channel, Video Chess Training on YouTube. And if you want to support the YouTube channel and my stream, you can make a donation via PayPal, either through Twitch or through YouTube. And I really appreciate it and need donations to help keep and support the stream and support my efforts to do this full time. So feel free to make such a donation, and I appreciate it. I list everyone who's made a donation in my Twitch page. So if you can afford it, it helps to keep things going. Queen e7 now, mobilizing the queen. Looks good. We are going to need to mobilize my king side. Mobilize the word of the day. I guess I could consider bishop g5 there, but playing according to the principle of the worst piece. I'm thinking about my worst piece, getting it in the game. If you've never watched the stream before, I try to focus on instruction, and this is the theme here. I mean, winning and losing is fun, and I know that we're playing these games competitively, but I really think the goal in creating a stream and creating my YouTube channel was to create a forum for improvement. Bishop g4. It's kind of an empty threat. You know, I'm not at all concerned about, in this kind of position, about getting doubled pawns. I am concerned, however, you know, in the development of my king side in one way or another. I mean, that's going to be an issue here. I guess bishop g5, right? Bishop g5, h6, bishop h4, g5, bishop g3, knight h5, something like that. Could be interesting. I was also, in fact, thinking about queen e1. It's kind of a cool move. But he has a space advantage on this side of the board if he plays e4 with some attacking potential against my king side. So I have to take care as far as maybe like thinking about just routinely castling king side here. Yeah, I think I will do this. Someone's saying, what? The rat opening. Why do you mention the rat? Oh, that was yesterday's choice of opening by World Loser. I can't keep track of which glass I have. I just picked up the cup. It had the same shape as the other mug, and I thought I was drinking like this watered down tea, but I had coffee instead. I was surprised. Wow, that watered down tea tastes better. Oh yeah, I have a coffee too. It's early in the morning, guys. Just woke up about an hour ago, so. All right. Tactics seem kind of non-existent in this game, which is actually good for me at this early hour. Again, I'm thinking about queen e1. He has this possibility to hit my c3 pawn. That's an argument for queen e1. He also has knight g5, which is more or less, I think, black's main idea here. I had this bad hallucination that I'm playing a different player than I am. I'm used to playing Plucro, excuse me. Different people. These guys are all regulars, but I'm used to playing Plucro. Our moderator, one of our regulars here, he has a much different style than Aldisto, and I have to get it through my head who I'm playing because they're different players. Alright, it's the first Chess 960 game I've played with this opponent, Aldisto. The problem is that e3 would be good, but I'm going to lose the exchange. And h3, g4 really weakens my king side, but maybe I should do it anyway. This is not an average situation. I don't know. I'm having second thoughts about this. Because I said A doesn't mean I have to say B. Maybe I can go knight h4, threatening knight f5, actually. This is assuming he doesn't take. Of course, he can take. G4 weakens the king side, in particular the f4 square. The queen is a problem. I'm just concerned if I play something slow like queen e1, I don't really have a concrete plan. Is there some serious 960 tournaments? Not as far as I know. There have to be chess 960 tournaments. Like, it's a Czech tournament. What's it called? Pardubice. It's a small city in the Czech Republic. Large town, small city. I don't know what you call it, but it's a town, I guess. Anyway. Pardubice holds a chess festival every summer. I know they probably have a chess 960 tournament. But as far as like, other than that, pretty rare. So now, I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do here. I guess we have to take. We're getting a little bit low on time. I'm like, I guess we have to take, and then I play knight f5. I actually meant to play knight f5. It was the verbal part of the command that was like a lie. Not really sure what's going on around here. Very complicated position. The fact that I'm up a pawn in this position really doesn't mean a whole lot. I wonder about e4 though. That would activate my queen. I feel like I can breathe a little bit more with his white squared bishop off the board. Is that knight going to do some damage? If I don't trade it, what about this? Maybe I should consider bishop h4. He has g5. But that would weaken his king side significantly. Alright, we'll keep the pin. I don't know, guys. Maybe this is a better, more natural retreat for me. I'm still toying with the idea of e4, striking at the center. Can't castle. I can't castle. He can castle, theoretically. Before he didn't want to castle with my knight on h4. He would have liked me to take on g6 and open the h-file for his rook along the h-file. That's what it's called, h-file. Okay, now, once again, e4 I think is even strengthened here a little bit. The possibility of e4. But if we take on e6 and play e4, we're just opening our queen up and crushing his center. Wonder if he should consider taking with the pawn there. Suddenly it looks good. I mean, I'm up a pawn, I'm putting pressure on his center, and we've still got this nice pin with the bishop on h4. We've even freed our queen, finally. I guess this is basically winning for white. Nearly winning. Bad knight and bad bishop. It's not such a bad knight. It was a bad knight on move 1. It's still not very active, but not necessarily like long-term bad. Yeah, basically only move king g7. He's got that. Master had that king f6. Unfortunately, time is a little short here. He did a good job, though, with king f6, staying in the game. Otherwise, he would have just been done. He would have lost the d5 pawn. And now we're castling. Endgame is a disaster for black, obviously. Any kind of endgame. Well, I do have c4, but I drop a pawn if I do that. Yuck. Alright, I don't know. Oh, he took with the queen. Did not anticipate that. Again, he can't really afford a trade of queens. Try to get our queenside majority moving. Yeah, I think this is... He's got to try to keep the queens on the board there, really, objectively. He's threatening rook. Let's get the rook behind the pawn. I'm not sure. He's got some counterplay, admittedly. It's only one pawn up for me. Oh. We don't have the ideal pawn structure anymore. Kind of funny position. Oh man, falling apart. Managed to find a cheapo just in time. All right. I think that he was basically equal toward the end there. He had enough compensation. Knight d8, bishop takes c5 would have been a little better than rook c8, but even so, he's probably holding this. I'm up 2 isolated passed pawns, but I can't seem to hold on to them. Good defense. I don't know if he could avoid trading queens in that ending. I thought queen e6, like, or something. It says queen d7. Trying to keep the queens on. Obviously, to try to checkmate me on the dark squares. Maybe try to play e4 and get the counterplay with the queens on the board. I think that would have been the best. Welcome, everyone. The stream is lagging. We've got no drop frames, so it's probably on your end. But reload Twitch if you have any problems. It's just really kind of buggy. Twitch often does some kind of weird stuff. So just reload the Twitch stream if you have any problems at all. It's no big deal. But I'm checking here. It looks like we're good. We're good technically. All right, let's go to game 2. World loser 5+4. This is basically just blitz chess. Your location in general for some reason. All right. Let's just be inventive. I don't know. He plays the Slav, but World Loser is a very dangerous opponent. But what I have noticed is that he's not that strong theoretically. You know, I mean, not to put him down because he's not, a grandmaster or something. But he is really a tough opponent. My only chance tends to be like to get some kind of advantage out of the opening. My best chance against him. I'm actually not an opening centric player. I don't consider the opening to be my stronger point. But I think if World Loser has a weak point, it's probably, for his level, his openings aren't a weak point. But competing with him as on a professional level, I would say his openings are his weakest phase. He knows theory. He plays really theoretical lines, but I can't. I know the theory a little bit deeper than him in most cases. I would hope so, though. That's why I'm here. But he's been really, really tough on me lately. We managed to win the last several games, but there was a stretch where he was absolutely equal against me for almost like 15 games in a row. Anyway, this is the long line, the long variation of the Slav. It's extremely, extremely old and deeply analyzed. I gave up playing this basically for white. Here, we played bishop g6 right away. Sort of. he gets out of any threats of like knight h4 type of stuff, which is a common line in that position after castles. Knight h4, I think, is the most high scoring move probably for white. This bishop g6, I've definitely faced it before. It's just been a long time. I haven't been playing this line lately. I don't think I've played, to be perfectly honest, I don't think I've played a long variation of the Slav since a game in Aeroflot 2004. That was like the last game I was like, dude, I'm just sick of this. There was some Turkish IM I played in Aeroflot, and it was a draw. But I was just like, at one point, I just said, I'm just done with this variation. I'm so tired of, everybody knows the theory like 30 moves deep, and it's all sort of analyzed to death. So I decided to stop playing this line. Everyone prefers usually to play, let's see, 695 in this position instead of e3. I mean, e3 is the older move. Knight e5 is where all the theory's at. That's also overly analyzed, but a lot sharper than the e3 positions. Next week I'm going to a tournament here in Hungary. I'm ranked on the chart. I'm ranked like 71st out of 136, I think, or something like that. 71st out of 136. I calculated that I would play on board 3 if the tournament was paired today. I was really hoping to like play board 1 basically. Rapport is going to be playing board 1. Not a lot going on in the chess world at this exact moment. It seems like no really interesting tournaments going on to talk about. Okay, queen e5. This, I guess, is like total mainline. I had this position. I think I had this exact position against Rich Delone. He's an IM who passed away very young, about 15 years ago. So I can play bishop d2 and bishop e1. That's the normal plan. But there is definitely a case for this move, which I've seen before in some positions. I'm not sure here which is better. I could even play knight a2, to be perfectly honest. Speaking of which, if you guys haven't met our opponent before, he's quite Speedy Gonzalez style. But I just realized that I dropped bishop or queen e1 check there. I guess it didn't do anything, but it would be good to notice this move, you know? It's the kind of thing you should probably take a look at before playing rook takes d4. But again, oh, that's interesting. Now I understand. It makes a complete sense now. I just figured out a mystery. We just figured out a mystery. Alright. Best be careful around here. We're getting into time pressure. I understand now. It all makes sense. I know James Comey's out of a job, so maybe I can apply at the FBI for my detective skills are very good. I don't know about the square for the queen. Where should I go? Back to D1? Yeah, alright, that's a safe square, I hope. Or not. Oh no. Does anybody know what's happening here? Because I don't know. I feel like I'm... Yeah. You gotta get... I can take your rook, you can take mine, kind of deal. What is going on here? Yes. Yes, it is, obviously. Yes, surprisingly, he has that move. Just have to resign. It's pretty interesting stuff. Just happened to have that. Well, this is theory. It's theory. Ah. Of course it is. What a surprise. Bishop d2 is a new move, and now here I blundered. So nobody in their right mind allows queen e1 check. Just me. But actually, Kramnik did this. And this is the exact game, Kramnik versus Sibag. So Kramnik and I. And if Vlad played queen e2, where I played queen d1. No, bishop d2. I should just play queen e2 right away. So I didn't realize we were in book. That's... So War Loser knows all the theory better than me. Now queen c5, this is a new position. Queen c5 was a very provocative move. And here I got careful at the wrong moment. Now he's just clearly better. And now I didn't see I have a move here. I mean, I see bishop d6, but I didn't understand the point. Like a queen d8, and I thought I'm just losing material anyway. Well, whatever. Queen a5, queen... Okay, I have rook d5 here. I didn't see this. This is impossible. I mean, I'm not a computer. But I expected queen d8. And, yeah, so there's just these tactical moves I couldn't find. It's just very fortunate, like, this move even exists. I couldn't see that with no time on the clock. I'm not perfect like some people. Yeah, this guy is, yes, it's, hopefully we're going to get him ISP banned on lichess. I'm trying to set it up now. We should be able to get an ISP ban on that guy. Because I know who it is. So, working on it. You can say goodbye to your privileges on lichess, hopefully. Alright. Mule Scanner, we're going to play A+3. Welcome, everyone. Very nice theoretical display there, World Loser. This is this guy who I had to ban from the Twitch chat before. Just became a troll. And now he's starting to create problems. But fortunately, he revealed who he was. Accidentally. Alright. What's up, Railbird80? Mule Skinner, it's the favorite opening. I was actually talking about this with one of my students last week. Let's just play quickly, because I'm tired of getting into time pressure. It's so fortunate that I figured out who this troll was. Just by complete accident, he did something very stupid. And hopefully now I can report him and get all of his accounts banned. Alright. Knight takes b5, bishop d7. So this is what I was thinking, instead of doing d5, I'm going to try to play d6 and play we're a position where I'm not going into a forced situation. We had the same game with Zen Master. Zen Master just retreated his knight back to c3. Well, I'm not going to reveal who it is. This is not about, you know, punishing people or embarrassing them. So I just want to take care of it with the administrators on lichess, and it's just funny that the guy made a big mistake. I wouldn't have known who it was if he didn't do something just a few minutes ago. He signed in with his other account, like watching the stream, which is really dumb. Anyway, let's try to just ignore it. Ignore the trolls, and maybe they'll go away. It's the best we can do. But this is more like an open Sicilian now, and I think Mule Skinner makes a mistake there. I mean, he should really play it like... He should really play this like a normal closed Sicilian. I like the way Zen Master played, just retreating. But you don't have to. Just d3, followed by kind of a normal sort of closed Sicilian Grand Prix attacked style game. It's not terrible what he did, but he basically has an open position where my two bishops have a lot of potential. I still think that white is okay, but objectively, black is fine here too. Hold on a second. Another troll at the door. Alright, we've got trolls at the door. It sounds like a clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right. It's a Bob Dylan song, I think. So basically, Mule Skinner is trying to play this like he's trying to play this like a normal Grand Prix, but he's opened the position, so it's almost like a normal dragon crossed with the Grand Prix attack. He has some threats with bishop h6, queen h4. But I feel like black should be fine. We have plenty of time here. Railbird, we're not talking about you, dude. We're not here to humiliate people. I just want to find out who was trolling me and have them punished. But they will be. Justice will be served. Queen e1 now. It's not so easy for black to get counterplay. There is a serious threat of queen h4 and bishop h6. Maybe we have queen b6 around here. He goes b3, c3, c3, not so much counterplay. It's actually a little hard for me. I mean, I thought that I have a good game, but this bishop is always kind of a question mark. It looks good, but our king is still in the center. I was having this philosophical discussion yesterday about the Sicilian Sveshnikov, Yevgeny Sveshnikov, claiming it's the best move against e4. I said I thought that's a little bit extreme. It's actually a risky opening. Riskier than probably e4, e5. You're leaving your king in the center. c5 doesn't resolve black's kingside development. It's a more dangerous opening than e4, e5. And claiming that it equalizes is going a little bit too far. Alright, I don't know, guys. We're going to try to get some counterplay how we can, where we can, when we can. Dude, it's not Ghost Mind. X-Rex. Stop making things up about people. There's nothing to do with Ghost Mind. He's not a troll. Okay, c3. c3 stops everything. It stops the c-file pressure. Are we going to castle and let him just attack us on the king side here? And do we have any counterplay? It stops the c-file. It also stops rook c4, queen b6, and threats of chopping that knight on d4. So it stops two of my avenues of counterplay. The c3, basically. Maybe b5, b4? Or is that too slow? Guess we can try it. I don't really have a better suggestion. Trying to get counterplay as fast as possible. He decides to play in the center with e5, which is fine. But I don't think it's inherently as dangerous as the other plan of playing like queen h4, bishop h6 with the knight on g5. Maybe we have some rook c5 type of ideas. White has a very, very good bind on the dark squares. My counterplay is kind of insufficient to distract him from that kingside attack. So I think he could continue with something like queen h4, bishop h6, or maybe bishop g5 and queen h4. Activating his last piece into the game, the a rook. It's pretty impressive. I'm not as scared of bishop g5 because this f6 knight is so well secured, but he is developing that piece, you know, and that in itself is a little scary. He's preparing to activate the last piece. We'll have to go into kind of defensive mode here. Bishop e8 and prepare to move my queen. Look how well White is playing. It's a thing of beauty. So well coordinated, every single piece. Look at that. Look at the coordination of the white forces. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. I mean, 1982. He's 450 points lower than me, but he's absolutely stronger than his results. Lately, I started bearing down against him because he was doing so well against me. Started to drive me to be more competitive against him. But we've played 92 games, and he's only scored 9. But you would never guess it if you've seen a lot of these games. He's improved dramatically since joining our stream here, and I take a little bit of credit for that. But I think, you know, he deserves 83% of the credit. He's also gotten faster, so he's a good case study for the value of the stream, and as far as improving, Mule Skinner has come a long way. Despite the fact that I have 2 bishops, my bishop pair, it's inactive. It's purely a defensive piece. And I've noticed this time and time again, particularly in the Sicilian, but other openings too, like the Benoni, King's Indian. It's kind of hard to quantify, but the queen's bishop always seems to be the piece that has the most difficulty sort of performing an active role in the middle game. I've never seen this really discussed in chess literature, but I've noticed it now that we've been talking about games and analyzing so much. I've noticed again and again this piece, this bishop coming from c8 on this diagonal, typically has problems. In the Benoni, you'll see black always jumping at the chance to trade it off, like bishop g4, bishop takes f3. It's kind of a ghost piece, and it seems to have only sort of defensive value. Here's another case where I have the bishop pair, the quote-unquote bishop pair, but the bishop pair seems rather, you know, useless. It's only like an extra pawn. It's a pawn on the 8th rank, protecting the base of my chain at f7. Okay, he goes for this now, which could be dangerous, obviously. He's going to win at least the exchange back. I want to stay as active as possible. I'd like to I like to trade queens, but I'm not sure that's a viable option anyhow. Okay. This move, I don't know. Computer, what would the computer do? This keeps the queen on the most active square possible. Feels like a computer would approve. Computers think in terms of creating like, man, I have a bad feeling about this. Computers thinks in terms of creating. What am I going to say? Trying to say maximum mobility for the pieces. Okay, I'm up a piece, so I can afford to give a piece back, but we're definitely on the defensive again. Four possible candidate moves here. Rook f7, bishop f7, queen f7, and king g8. Or king h8 is no good. So rook f7 looks like the most logical to me. Mule Skinner. There's no way he's 1900. How do you only have 9 points after 90 games? Every game is so tough against you. I can't understand it. Got to get some counterplay here quickly before he's setting up sort of like mating threats and stuff. Oh no, that's why. Blundered mate in 1. Even there, you're clearly better. No, fantastic game, man. You're just winning. Wrong rook. Rook f4. Rook f4 and it's over. Wow, I'm just dead. Maybe my last move was the final mistake, but I'm lost in this position, dude. He just played wonderfully. He gave me the point, but that's not the point. I mean, the point is that he played just massively. There's a Machea game Machea actually did this. I don't like this for white though, playing d4. Black says I should play e5 here. Very resolute. Well, f5. So weird. So I was a little bit too laissez-faire, it looks like. I don't know. Knight f6. Queen e1. I played all the normal moves, and suddenly I didn't have an idea here. b5 was too slow. What did he play? e5 there? No, he played king h1. So my plan, this minority attack, was just too slow, and white is just clearly better. A little too passive for black. Still, I was okay at this point. Wow, knight takes g6. Well, how do I defend this position? I moved the wrong queen move. I have to keep e7 protected, apparently. The move was queen b7. I would stay on the white square to keep pressure on g2. Played a little too fast there. Dropping this is a decisive mistake on e7. After this, it's unclear. Knight takes f8, king takes f8. And that's kind of what I expected, basically a dynamic equality. But after queen c4, dropping e7 is just devastating. Okay, Mule Skinner. Dangerous system. The other chess 960, we've got a knight on b1, knight on f1. That's good. All the pieces look reasonable. King can castle on either side, so it's a very flexible position. English opening. He just dropped a piece. I mean, that was actually a good game by Mule Skinner. He started getting time pressure. His only downfall, he's gotten better with the time pressure though. In the beginning, he used to really struggle with it, and lately he's gotten much faster. I think he's definitely improved the most out of everyone who's regularly been watching my stream for the last year. Banned words. Oh no. Blue Crow, where is Blue Crow? He's our moderator, he should be here. Oh, he's thinking about the initial position. That's the thing about chess 960. You really have to take some time on the first move. And I was speculating about that last time. If the rules should be changed so that the clock starts immediately. I feel like it's to White's advantage, I guess. When in doubt, play symmetrically. You'll find something else to desymmetrize. Dissemtrizi. It's a good question, man. I don't know if there's that way. Desymmetricize. Is there such a word in any language? Desymmetrize. Is that a word? Is there any speculation? Another banned word. Wow, you guys are like, you're actually copycat criminals. We'll give him a timeout, and if he continues, we'll ban him. Alright, knight c3. Now this is a little odd to think this long on move 2, Blue Crow. h5. Not as weakening as g5. He's already playing against me, putting my knight on g3. But to be perfectly honest, guys, I am worried about my queen. I think that Blue Crow is thinking the same thing I am. You know, that you don't want to develop it on the long diagonal because of the bishop on a1, so you have to move the h-pawn. Therefore, he's thinking... See, this is a matter of style. I was thinking more like passively. I'm getting passive in my old age. You know, like, I would play h3, which isn't quite as committal as h4, maybe. Alright, let's do it. There's a problem with that, too, though. I think that Blue Crow is right. Like h4, h5 was probably the best. h3 is really feeble. I was thinking this last week or the week before. I play a lot of poker. I used to play a lot of poker full time and took a break from chess to do that for like 5 or 6 years. And lately, both my chess and poker, I've been thinking when I play. It's possible, I mean, I've been getting more, like, conservative in my old age. This is a big danger, if we start to play scared or too conservatively. I see with older people sometimes, but maybe it's not about age, just about perception. There are certainly older people who play more recklessly. Maybe they're just playing too fast and stuff like that. But I've been on the lookout for this in my own game, that I become too conservative, too afraid to take risks. I think that may be more common with older people, slowly developing a sort of fear of taking risks that I didn't used to have. 96. This sucks. I played one passive move, and I already don't like my position. This is a brave move, 96. And I think it's a good move. I mean, by playing h5, he actually discourages me from knight g3. Maybe I should do it before it's too late. Where's it going, though? He just does h4, gaining time. Man, h3 was a really horrific move. And it's going to mess up my whole position. It already did. It's gonna is a little bit... It's a little too late for gonna. h3 was just... Because of bishop c7. Why is he banned? Who's banned? Wouter's not banned. He's timed out for saying perverse sexual terms. I can't imagine why I would do that. But he will be banned if he continues to do it. Anyway. I am Greg Shahade. Used to make a living playing poker. Have you ever been at the same table playing against him? I am Greg Shahade. Of course. I mean, I never played with Greg poker, but we're from the same region, and I know Greg pretty long. But I never actually had the opportunity to play poker with him. I mean, I played mostly online, and the live poker I have played has been, for the most part, here in Europe. But Greg was a sit and go specialist, and I play a lot of sit and goes too. But later on, not so much. Okay, knight c6. We've got problems with this square, so I think we've got to cover that. Yeah, I mean, Greg played poker, started playing poker around the same time that I did, in the early 2000s. I played poker since I was a little kid, but I didn't really get into it since until 2000 or so. Just like Greg. When poker became so trendy, I actually learned poker first, chess later. I started playing poker when I was probably about like 8 years old with my friends. I didn't start playing chess till I was 11 or 12. Alright, Blue Crow. You're just randomly grabbing space with h4. My queen is sort of hurting right now. So, no, Greg Shahade, like me, was born in the Philadelphia area, so we have that in common. I later moved to Boston. Greg's younger than me by like 10 years or so. We're not quite the same generation. I'm a little bit older. This troll started to watch me today on lichess. Yeah, but I wouldn't encourage it, World Loser. I'm trying to kind of ignore it. We're definitely on the, and if he does anything strange, please report him to lichess. We're going to try to get this guy, taken care of so he can stop harassing the stream and harassing players on my stream, including myself. But let's not draw any extra attention to him, because I think that's what he wants, World Loser. So I'm trying to make an effort not to. People like trolls, they want attention, so we're going to try to get him taken care of without giving him the gratification of any attention, basically. Knight g4. How am I going to get my queen in the game here? I'm about to lose on time, too. Yeah, War Loser, please report to the moderators what this dude is doing, and hopefully they will ban his abusive account from lichess, because it's just really outrageous. But I know who it is, so we're gonna see if we can't take care of it. Alright. Plucro. It's hard to say your name. Plucro. I should have learned French in high school. Instead I studied Spanish. World Loser, I know, dude. I'm trying to tell you that I already knew this before the stream even started. And I'd like you and the other players who are aware of it to also please report him to the moderators, if you will. And the more of us that do that, hopefully the more, chance we have of getting his account revoked for being abusive. All right, knight g5. How do I get my queen in the game? Oops, I meant to whisper that. Oh man, what am I doing here? Yes, I know. At least G3. At least G3 is covered. Am I still allowed the castle? Would I even want to? Maybe we're just gonna have to live with like an isolated H-pawn or something. Of course it is. It's abusive and shouldn't be allowed. I've got H4 here. Maybe not the best move, I'm not sure. Wow. My king is just chilling in the center of the board. But that's fine. Can we castle? It's illegal. Oh no. Okay. Can we castle? Yay! We did it. We castled. It's awesome. All right. Just calmly try to win the exchange here. I'm not certain this is the best move, but it's the best I could come up with a limited amount of time. Yeah, unfortunately. He has some threats. Okay, that was not an intentional move on my part. That was 100% lichess auto making the move for me, which I've got to correct. This click move feature or whatever is going on around here. So I've had a lot of mouse slips of this variety lately. Blue Crow is just pure evil. matter what I do, he keeps coming up with stuff. It's really, really tough. Very resourceful. You are very resourceful, Blue Crow, though. Just kidding, man. I don't know. I'm just making up stuff to sound exciting. You gotta dramatize the game a little bit. Okay, pure evil was a little bit of an exaggeration. That's what it's all about, man. That's what modern media is about. Exaggerating and fake news. Pure evil was just 100% fake news. I know. I created it. Now we're good. We're good to go. His position is fake news now. 3 connected passed pawns. Fake news and bad hombres. You can't afford to trade. But look at this. He's even he's resilient even here. When most people would give up hope, they would have long given up hope here. Blue Crow is still fighting. It takes a lot to break his spirit. Do I have G7? G7 probably wins a piece, like Rook F8, G7. Alright, Blue Crow. Nice fight. You were better out of the opening, no doubt. Bulbul Hassan, I should say. Bulbul Hassan. You are next. Orbitich. I think we played Orbitich a long time ago, didn't we? Yeah. Geezer has rated games. All right, Tanager Man, also Manager Man. Now, Tanager is like in India or something. What is it? Is that a name or a place or a thing? It's an Indian word. I'm just guessing. Anyway, Blue Crow, I hated this move. It was the worst move I've ever played in Chess 960. Check this out. This has actually been played. No. Okay, H5 was creative, though. I don't have a problem with H5. I think it's a little weird, but interesting. And now, the worst move ever. H3. This is like actually a negative move, because I wanted to bring my queen in the game and then realized he has bishop c7, shutting it down. So, probably I should play H4 here. Yeah, that's the second best move. This was a big mistake, not playing H4. And after that, I would have had a totally normal game. But H3 was really bad. Guys, I just want to remind everyone that I have a YouTube channel, Video Chess Training on YouTube. Please like and subscribe over there. Tomorrow I'm going to try to bring up a new video. I'm going to analyze one of my own games, try to start a new series where I go into kind of in-depth analysis of one of my own games, like live, analyzing one of my own games for the first time together on the video, which I thought would be kind of fun. Analyzing your own games, according to world champion Mikhail Botvinnik, maybe the single most important thing you can do to improve. Check it out on Video Chess Training on YouTube. Bulbul Hassan. Alright, 5 plus 3. A tanager is a bird. Okay, I'm crazy, of course. I knew that. It's a bird. I feel like I just lost a game show or something. Man, I knew it was a bird. It's been a few years since I actually conceived that. If it was Jeopardy, I would have totally screwed up. Feels bad, man. Yeah, why do I associate it with something like an Indian word? It's weird. Strange. Alright, E4. Let's go. Nice to play you too. Will Hassan, 1900 here on lichess. Looks like he's a fairly new account. It's the Smith-Morra. If you guys don't like playing against the Smith-Morra, you can always play a transposition to the c3 Sicilian. But he didn't do that. He played queen takes d4. I can't remember the name of my math teacher in high school. He was the guy who ran this little chess club in high school. Like, what was his name? He was Italian, Mr. de something. Can't remember his name. He used to play this. Our math teacher chess club president. It's not that bad. I mean, to lose the tempo. You're just basically playing kind of Scandinavian against c5. It's not as good as the normal Scandinavian for white, but I've occasionally run across like title players in blitz who would do this with white. It's not really good, but it's not that bad. What can I say? Now, theoretically, I guess we should play d5. But there's a question about this approach, you know. I need to play faster. The question is, if we play something like d5, it sort of simplifies the game. If I'm playing a weaker player and I want to play for a win, maybe it's better not to play d5. Although objectively the best move for black, it allows a lot of simplification. And maybe if we want to win, it's better not to trade the pawn on d5. Also can consider taking with the queen. Interesting. It's the problem is he's moving the piece twice. Bishop d3 followed by bishop b5. He can inflict some damage to my pawn structure, but at the price he's paying here, I'm getting a good deal. Plus EV, pawn weakness for black in poker terms. Do you think that's a bad mentality to have, Railbird? What? I have never give up and never resign mentality. I like to play my games out to mate. It depends on the circumstances and the level of your opposition. For beginners, I would say playing out to mate is actually fine. But at some point, etiquette dictates that you should resign in overwhelmingly lost positions. It depends on the social aspect of where you're playing, who you're playing against, you know. I've occasionally run into master level players who would never ever resign. If you do it, if you do have that, you know, credo or whatever, then just do it consistently, you know. There was a guy who was like 2200, I remember, who would do that. He would never ever resign. And it was annoying and kind of bad etiquette to me at first, but when I realized that he did it every single game, regardless of who he was playing against, I kind of accepted it, you know, and so I kind of was able to look beyond it. But according to classical etiquette, you know, you're supposed to resign in a hopeless position. Of course, drawing the line is the question, you know. If your opponent has 7 pieces and you have 1 piece, it's clear you're lost, you know. If you're just down 1 piece, I've told the story about playing Grandmaster Huang Thong Trong and how she didn't resign down a rook against me, but the queens were on the board and there were some checks and some weird stuff, so she was justified not resigning. But I was really angry after the game and I kind of berated her about like not knowing how to resign. But I regret that. I mean, she has a right to play on. So queen takes b6. This way I correct my pawn structure, and white stands slightly worse because black has a powerful central pawn and black has a powerful bishop pair. Not really a big deal at the moment, but in certain endgames My bishop pair could be very, very valuable. All right. Well, that stops one thing and threatens a2. This wouldn't have been possible without the knight on d2. Do we snap this pawn? I guess we should play knight d3 first. We can always take on a2 at a later date. The good thing is he's played like c3, so he can't play b3 and trap a bishop on a2. There was the famous game I mentioned yesterday in the World Championship match in Reykjavik in '72. I don't really remember because I was just being born, I think. I might have even been born during that match, but kind of abstract and thing. But anyway, well, he's got a little bit of counterplay here. But I was going to say is the bishop can't get trapped. Fischer got a bishop trapped against Spassky. That was one of his more famous losses in that match. This bishop is not going to get trapped. Famous last words. c4. Oh no. c4. He can't play b3, but he can play c4. He didn't fall for my sneaky trap. Yeah, c4, bishop takes c4. That's why he just played h3. Good job, man. Don't believe what the opponent is telling you to do. Don't believe the hype. Bishop c4, bishop takes c4, c4, bishop takes c4, with the back rank problem for white. It's a nice trick. Alright, so now it's tempting to take his knight on f3, but my bishop is like a mighty piece. Centralizing the king for the endgame. Another golden rule, which is hard to avoid here, but he's only a pawn down. Yeah, I like that move on several levels for him. Try to avoid exchanges when you're down material. Bishop h6. Bishop h6 is certainly not a bad move. You can throw it out there, activating the bad bishop. And now for our next trick, rook a2, c4. He's got a little bit of stuff on the d file. Maybe I can play b5. Not that in love with it, actually. Though f5, c4. My original plan was rook a2, c4, rook takes b2, c takes d, rook takes d2. Does that make sense? Could lead to a complex situation. Sigh. Alright, we'll do it. Bulbul Hassan, 1900 is not bad. Yeah, he's going into my line. So I don't have to do this rook takes b2. I can consider other possibilities. Bishop back to e6. Maybe that's kind of the most like sane move here. He is going to get a little bit of play now with knight e4. He didn't pull the trigger on knight e4. I think he has to. He resigned. He dropped a piece. So he has to pull the trigger on knight e4 here. It's bad for white, but it's not, as Railbird80 would say, not resignable. I would have played this. Bishop f8. White's lost, but it's definitely not necessary to resign yet. Orbitich 2200. Quite a respectable player. 499 games. Blitz, bullet. He's really balanced. He's playing a little bit of everything, mostly bullet though. Of course, it is easier to play more bullet games than classical chess. So knight f3. I've been playing a lot of c5. Let's mix it up and play g6. Justice Bot started watching. What's up, Justice? You have information. The troll is banned already. Well, let's just hope that they ban his ISP, because this is very aggressive trolling. You know, to create an account where you're like mocking me, but as I said earlier, I think I know who it is, which is a really big advantage, because the troll loses their anonymity. I mean, I don't know who it is in real life, but at least I know who their main account is, what their main account is on lichess. You know, so if they continue to harass me, we can report them. Castles, knight c6. Anyway, let's move on from troll conversations to concentrating on the game here. King's Indian attack. There was this guy I played yesterday, French player, rated around 2400. Akram. And he beat me in this King's Indian attack last week in a very interesting game. Same line. But he used a very specific idea that is very rare. d3, e4, knight d2, a3, b4, and b5. I mean, the a3, b4, knight d2, bishop b2 idea is standard. I discussed this with Mark Dvoretsky years ago, but the idea of playing b5 the way Akram did against me, if you guys want to look up that game, it's something that bothered me for a long time, because I wasn't really sure how I'm supposed to react when white does b4. Should you? And I actually had one of my students ask me about this. He said, how should you react? Should you play like a6 or b6 or b5? This position you see in front of you now is often played with colors reversed. What Orbitich is doing is actually more commonly seen like black in the King's Indian facing the King's Indian attack. And I've played both colors of this position. Now he's playing c4. He lost the tempo to get into... this is weird. I mean, he's a tempo down, which is fine objectively. He's white. Excuse me. He's white, so he can afford to be a tempo down, but 99 out of 100 people don't want to do that. It's a closed position. You're playing the Botvinnik system a tempo down, as if you were black with white. Well, that's fine. But anyway, to make a long story short, normally e4 followed by like a3, b4, and bishop b2. But Akram did like b5 against me, which is quite unusual and interesting. So anyway, Orbitich is maneuvering standard stuff. Very standard stuff here. I don't normally play the black side of this, so on a kind of strategic level, Orbitich has tricked me, you know, into playing something I don't normally play, even though he's a tempo down. The clip completes my life. FM Farmville. What? Who is FM Farmville, Justice Bot? Do I know them? Is that your new account? It's just funny, FM Farmville, because, like, you know, on ICC, Hikaru was Smallville long ago. So I thought Farmville was kind of funny. Yeah. What should we do here? Well, if I don't play h6, I'm not going to get a second chance to do it, I guess. I'll have to take with the queen on d5. I don't know. Kind of unique way of playing this by Orbitich. I don't really have a clue what I'm doing, because I don't play the Botvinnik variation for black. Not that I don't have a clue, but I don't have a very big clue. I actually played the Botvinnik sometimes with white, but I never really felt happy about it. Position's very closed, it's hard to make progress. Blah, 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 blah. Is rook b8 even the right idea? I don't know, I don't like my rook on the long diagonal. We can play d5 there. That would be like me against Gregory Kaidanov. A game I lost to Kaidanov once. So what happened here? Oh, we stepped back a move. He stopped d5. Okay. Anyway, I think that d5 is overrated. That's how I lost to Kaidanov. Like, I was white and I did d4 and overextended myself or something. In the equivalent of this position. Maybe it's better just to, like, do what I'm doing and let him have d5, you know? Years ago, when I was a teenager, I liked to play kind of closed defense against the English, but it's not been something that's a regular part of my repertoire as a master. I prefer more open positions when I can get them. Here we can consider maybe f4 pawn sacrifice. It's a little too much. Go with the classic g5. I feel like I'm playing against myself. I would much more typically be found on his side of this position than on my side of this position. Playing black with his setup appeals to me a little bit more than playing white. I remember when I was like 2200, once I played the closed Sicilian against Josh Whiteskin in an open tournament. He was like 2390 and I was like 2250, and I managed to draw. That was probably like one of the last times I ever played like the straight up closed Sicilian. So Orbitich, interesting. Is b5 a threat? Not really, right? I think there's only one question you need to ask yourself here. Do you guys know the answer? The question is, what would Grishuk do if he was black? And I think I know the answer. We have to play g4, probably. It's sort of ugly, but I think that's what Grishuk would do. I saw a very similar game he won against a weaker super GM not that long ago. You know, rather than like f4, which just cedes the e4 square to white, we're sitting there like sitting here like a pumpkin and just letting white like go f4, which he probably should have done last move. I would have played instead of b4, f4. Kind of limit. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. There I could take and play like, maybe I could take and play knight h4. I'm not sure on that. Okay. I think if he had e3, there's nothing wrong with Orbich's b4 though. He's going to play it like this. He's not going to weaken his king side. It's perfectly reasonable. Comes with some risks. Do you feel lucky, punk? Dirty Harry. Yeah, I mentioned that on one of my streams like 2 weeks ago. I went through this period where I was watching like every old... Oh my gosh. That's just simplification though. I mean, I can do b6. Barely. This barely doesn't lose material. But I mean, maybe I should just play like knight d4 there. If you think about it. If he takes on a7, that can't be good. It's Tigran Petrosyan versus Alexander Grishuk style game. Okay, what if we stick our knight on d4? This knight is sort of a question mark in this position, isn't it? I don't know, man. There's 7, 14, how many? 12, 16, 14. 14 pawns on the board. And it makes it very confusing. It's like my queen endgame with Magnus Carlsen. 14 pawn queen endgame. Very confusing. Too many pawns. Too many pawns for like move 19. Too many pieces and pawns. Good to get the queens off. Uh-oh. It's a crafty trap. Knight c2. Rook c1. Knight takes a3. It's some sort of perverse way of trapping my knight. Come on now. He didn't even see it. Did you even see this? You just accidentally trapped my knight or something? It looks problematic. He feels lucky, punk. There, takes, rook b3, takes, rook takes. I don't see how my knight gets out. Some a5 drops the b6 anyway. Just would destroy my whole position if I did that, I guess, basically. That's the good news. Alright. And in the meantime, what's going on? Nobody really knows. Do you even have a plan, me? I don't even have a plan. That's the problem. No plan at all. Knight c2. Knight takes a3. He even has rook a1 there, probably. Like, my knight just gets stuck. Anyway, well, let's forget about that and just try to find a good move. Problem is, I don't know what a good move is. His knight on d5 is a real issue, long term. King f7. Thinking like endgame, but it's kind of risky. I don't know what to do, guys. I'm real confused here. And I'm scared. Rook f7 looks crazy. Everything looks crazy here. Let's just get my king out of check. I don't know. Making a random move. I don't have a plan at all. I'm a little overextended. it looks like. My pawns are more overextended than white's. This is a problem. He's got this pawn advance sometimes on the queen side. Break. Where's my break? H5, H4. Seems sort of meaningless now with the queens off the board. I do have... Maybe I have a plan now. Maybe I found a plan. My plan is to like win on time. Stay for the math. I can't count. 14. What is it? 16? I love that, don't you? You know, whenever you go to like a party and people don't know anything about chess, the first thing they're like, oh, you must be really good at math. You know, I love this. I constantly get that. You know, I'm like, no, I suck at math. And people, that's the end of the conversation. Like, the look on their face is just like, whoa, that's weird. No, I don't suck at math, but I'm not a math geek. So I dropped my only calculus course in college, whatever it was. What about the white king here? Starting to look kind of frisky, huh? Fresh king. A lot of vacuum around that king. It's like a black hole. If I can only get at it somehow, that king looks kind of jonesing. The question is how to get there. Knight b5 now. Yeah, I know. I was expecting you to dinner here. Not thrilled, but what can I do? I have to do that exchange, unfortunately. And things are getting interesting. My one plan I get to implement now. The Grishuk break and this genialish positional idea, bishop h6. Genialish is the Hungarian equivalent of genius, brilliant. The whole idea of king h7, it was a deep conception, but it was absolutely critical. Setting up bishop h6, trading off my bad b, and this endgame where the white king would be a question mark. I have to take this way, unfortunately. Not giving him a queenside majority. And he avoids the key to the position now. Going for it. Korchnoi rook transfer. The smashing Grishuk-like attack on the white king. Wow. Can he do that? I don't care about the material. Gotta guard this. Well, obviously. Are you planning on having some visitors? Damn. Now that... Unfortunately, rook g8 wasn't really on the agenda there, and he's playing rook g1. So I have to stick this there on g2. Just a placeholder. With counterplay. Stay away from the chalupa. Oh, I didn't expect that. Somewhat of a surprise. What? Wow. Now what? This, I guess. Oh no. Yeah, he's sort of melting down. Melting. Maybe I should try a different move. Try a different move, Schnoofy. Is this sort of silly to go backward with my king? Oh, the psychic network. Wasn't that one of my recent opponents? Yes, yes. Alright. I'm definitely screwing this up. To some degree. Hopefully not enough. Not enough to lose, but we're coming close. Maybe I should have played the other move. Would have been a little better. Really managed to make this difficult for myself. Well, that's a little easier. The other. I really want to lose this game somehow. I'm sure I can still find a way. Yeah, the Grishuk. This very unimpressive close Sicilian by me, but managed to take it down. Alright guys, we've got another half an hour to stream here. We should be able to play these games against Constant Change, Geezer, and Tanager, man. Hopefully. I had a mate. Seriously, I had mate in one? Wouldn't surprise me. Constant Change, we haven't played an Alekine's defense, or Alyukhin, if we try to pronounce it correctly. Alyukhin. He avoids the critical line with e5. Basically, the game takes on more of a kind of a Scandinavian flavor, if you will. I guess we had this before as well. Maybe I should try to be a little more incisive this time. I don't know. Can I play c5? It's a little risky for black. Oh, if rook takes e7, okay. I feel better I didn't miss. Yeah, good fight, Orbitich. I don't really like playing the black side or any side of the Botvinnik. I'm not a big fan. Maybe I should play c6, but it's passive, you know. I'm afraid of symmetrical draw positions here. That's the reason for playing c6. But it sort of gives white a small advantage. So, objectively, it's probably not the best move. Better to save this, you know. If he wants a draw, he can probably force a draw by going into this wonderful French exchange position. But objectively, c6 would be a big waste of time for black. But this doesn't bother me too much. He's actually turning into a position that's... It's more like a Slav than it is a king's pawn opening now. With d4 and c4. It feels like a Slav. And rather than put my knight on the pathetic b6 square, where it always seems to end up in Alyukhin's defense, we're going to put it back on f6. And here, I think we have the classic, where does this idea come from anyway? The classic freeing maneuver. Knight h5. This guy's a strong player. He's also the record holder for the number of games played against me on my stream. 109. Today's 110. Congratulations. You guys see my math skills, right? You witnessed it here first. Congratulations on 110. 2 plus 1 equals 10. 2 plus 2, excuse me. 2 plus 2 equals 10. We've achieved an equal position, I think, despite the fact that he has technically more space due to the d4 pawn. I'm not really all that worried about it, but probably we should be a little bit careful. C5 has something to be said for it. I think he's going to play d5. So fast. Binary. No ambulances today. I tell you guys, there's something funny going on with the ambulances. You're telling me it's a coincidence that one day when I was hysterical, there were like 8 ambulances in a row within an hour? There is a conspiracy going on. And then every other day there's like maybe 1 or 2. No, it's got to be an ambulance training program or something. You know, they're exactly like after rush hour. You know, it would be the perfect time to kind of do ambulance training. I actually saw a video on YouTube where these people were like, this is the way Hungarian ambulances drive. And then there was like a illustrative video. This would never be legal in the United States. All right. Getting a headache from this position. Sigh. I think I'm going to have to do something special here. Besides fixing my mouse. There's a problem here. If I play c6, I'm actually a little disturbed with d5. Because at the end of the day, like CD, ed, queen takes d5, he's hitting b7 and my h5 bishop. Now maybe I have something like knight f6, queen takes b7. No. I'm actually going to do this. Very pathetic move. With full confidence that I'm doing the right thing. Part of the problem is just seeing that your opponent is 200 rating points higher, feeling like you've got to force things against these guys. But you know, that's why Caruana lost to Hu Yifan in the last tournament. That's why in where was it, Grenki. That's why MVL lost against who was it, Nidich. You know? Let them have a draw. All right, have a draw, man. Congratulations. Good job with the white pieces. So, would we consider taking with the bishop here? I still think his bishop would remain better than my knight there. Maybe we should just give him the draw and be like, all right, man. You know, next game, I'm white next time. Constant Change has reached a level where he's like 2200, I'm 2400. If he's gonna just let me swap all the pieces to a forced draw, I mean, the bottom line is, should I have to risk losing, you know, in order to win? And how much risk should you take in order to try to win? I mean, part of the point of my stream is to try to play the best possible moves, try to improve as a player. I'm not here to gamble, you know. But I've had a lot of bad results against weaker players where I overpressed. This has been an almost constant problem for me, as it is for many stronger players when they play someone lower rated, as is the case here. Like, say 200 points lower rated. There's a lot of things I could have done. I mean, I'm not playing for a draw. I'm playing what I think are the best moves in this position. If it ends up in a draw, it ends up in a draw. There's nothing I can do about it. That's life. But I'm not going to go out of my way, get a bad position against a player who's faster than me. Just accept that White's playing, you know, to quote Romanov, my first round opponent from Zalakaros last year, you played for a draw. No, I mean, Constantine didn't play for a draw. But he's kind of using it as a weapon, like the threat of a draw to sort of provoke the other player into taking risks. He has a very stable style. He doesn't really do anything special. He doesn't take risks. But if you take risks, you make some mistakes, he can beat you. I don't want to lose, you know, because I took risks that are unnecessary. So I'll just accept that this is a draw and move on. And maybe next time he'll take some risks to try to do something. Sirens around here. But if you think about it, the ambulances, right? They have to have like practice driving, you know, and practicing driving an ambulance in a parking lot isn't going to really help. So the only way to really learn to be an ambulance driver would be to learn it on the fly, you know. And being an ambulance driver in Budapest has to be pretty much as tough as anywhere, I guess. They're absolutely crazy. So it could be that I'm right. You know, these are training runs. And like one particular day, maybe. I live in kind of like the border of the ghetto. Although this area that I'm living in, Budapest, the area where I'm living now is a little bit up, going up in terms of cost of rents and the quality and the level of businesses and stuff like that. There's an upward trend in the last couple of years. Sigh. Look at all this stuff. He's so accurate. He finds this. Rook d2, because I played a5. Now he has this provocative try. Maybe rook d7, right? Copycat. It's a dumb move. That's like the dumbest move I ever played. I just lost the file. Oh my god. Alright, whatever. Now he's only slightly better. I just feel embarrassed I played that move. Talking about ambulances. Still, it's a draw. White has control of the file. And it's not enough to win. He's playing comparable skill. No ghetto birds here in Budapest. Sometimes you see actually the Prime Minister might have his own helicopter, I'm not sure. Occasionally hear the helicopter. Cue up the ice cube. Good stuff. I bet you guys never thought I was an Ice Cube fan. That and other surprising facts about me you'd never guess. Queen c5. Okay. Maybe I missed something. I don't understand. It's a 2-for-1 sale. Wow, that must be a pretty deep combination, Holmes. Queen takes a3, queen f3, queen a1 check. Oh, this is something he didn't work out. I mean, I don't think that he's fully worked this out here. Queen d1. pretty random. I don't know. Alright, whatever. I'm still not better. He took on c7 there. Hold on. Hold on to your microphones. What is going on? I don't really understand what's been going on in like the last 5 moves. I'm also not sure what Constant Change's goal is here, to win or draw. It's like if he wanted to draw, he could have drawn easily. But it's almost like he can't make up his mind whether he wants to win or lose. He's kind of flirting with both. Drawing apparently wasn't really part of the program. He still has a draw. It's still a draw. Yeah, I think now we understand we're on the same page. Just in time. Now he has to be careful. Playing for a win might lose there. With c5, rook e4 check, and rook takes c5. But now if anything, I'm a tiny bit better. Because of his overextended pawns. Not objectively enough to win, but I'm sure I could find a way to lose this position too. Especially if I was playing Oligos with the sudden death time control. We would reach move 157, where I have, if this is a game with Oligos, I predict like move 157 where I have like rook and 2 pawns against rook, and I lose on time. That would be the end of the game. Like seriously. No joke. 157 moves, flag, where I'm actually winning with rook and 2 against rook and king. Rook b4 accurate. Now he offers a draw. Alright, I mean, I'm a little better here, but I'll give you a draw. I'll admit that it's probably a draw. It's a very generous offer of Constant Change, but in the spirit of not torturing our viewership here. Geezer. If I was playing someone who was below 2200, I would play this out. You know, I mean, I have nothing to lose. There are 4 pawns. If I win one, if I can win a pawn here, which a weaker player might allow, you know, so this is a tournament game. If you're under 2200, I would think I would go for the, just play it out, you know, not to be like Oligos and try to win on time, but there's potential. If I can play g5 there and sort of artificially isolate his pawn on e5, there could be some chances for white to go wrong. Not a very exciting game, but I decided to be very cautious because Constant Change is dangerous. But until the endgame, I think we played well. I think the endgame was misplayed by both sides. The queen and rook endgame was pretty badly misplayed. What's the longest game? I don't know. My longest game is a good question. I'm really not sure now. You know, probably. As far as I remember, I probably had a 130 move game. Several games in the low 100s. I have a number, but it's been a long time. since I had a 100 move game. I've definitely had a handful of 100 move games. I think 130 is probably my max. Online, I've definitely had longer blitz games. I'm sure that, I don't know if Justice Bot is still here, but he's probably had like 200 move bullet games. I'm sure that on ICC, Oligos has 300 move games where you just like move back and forth 700 different ways in rook against rook and flagged people. But we don't consider that to be sportsmanlike. So, an interesting situation has arisen here. I could play d5. Well, that's illegal. Maybe d4. d4. Neo Grunfeld. Only possible because my knight will hit his bishop on f5, I guess. I'm not sure it's even good, to be perfectly honest. We're not going to give him any hints. Geezer is 1264 blitz, 1300 classical. And now it's really turning into a Grunfeld. A reversed Grunfeld, to be exact. Just Spot said, what? Recently had a 150 move one. Mating with knight and bishop. Yeah, that's usually one of them. I had like a 100 move game with Vladimir Georgiev where I had to mate him with knight and bishop. He resigned like one move before mate. I hate when they do that, you know. It's so like anticlimactic. After you go to all that work, you know, he doesn't let me mate him. The final move, it's almost, it shouldn't be allowed. You know. H6 is quite a sort of subtle move for this guy. Preventing bishop g5, putting more pressure on the center. That is serious chess. And now for my next trick, I don't know. I was thinking about queen a4. I've never had a 200 game. Definitely in blitz. Geezer 2. H6 is quite a subtle move, you know, for this guy who's 1300. I think that's pretty impressive. But he is leaving his king in the center, so there's some risk involved. B3 maybe? I'm not sure. Blocking my own queen. But this is a decent way to play. I mean, it stops any nonsense with c4. It doesn't develop his pieces for him. We get our bishop to a good diagonal. At least we try to. Sack the exchange. Geezer 2. Wow, I think my mouse got stuck. Oh no. It's not that my mouse is... What is it doing? Okay. It wasn't that, just the battery got loose or something. Geezer 2, I don't know, man. Maybe bishop f6 there would be the best. Pretty advanced play, though. He must be bad tactically. Whenever I look at my opponents, I try to figure them out, you know, and if you think about Geezer being 1300, you know, he's played pretty reasonably positionally, so he's got to have some kind of weaknesses, you know. There haven't really been any tactics in the position. We should be looking for tactical weakness against this player, you know, because strategically he played fine. 300 games at 1300. Strategically okay. He's got to have some tactical weaknesses. So we got him in the wrong kind of position. I should have been playing e4, probably very open game. Everybody should practice knight and bishop. Yeah, it's a very, look at bishop e4. I mean, that's, come on, 1300. I hope this isn't a new account since like yesterday or something. If he beats me, I better be hanging a queen or something. Bishop e4. Actually, I thought he should have done that right away in the opening. Ironically. Go for some simplification here. See how his endgame technique is. There was this weird guy I played yesterday who was 900. Those of you who were here. There was something fishy about that account. When he takes c6. Not sure I should do that. I feel the similar thing going on here with this guy. Maybe it's the same guy. He's 900 with one, 1300 with the other. But he plays like he's like 1800. 2000 at least. Strange. 1200, come on. What is this? So far he's played 2000-ish. No spamming. That account got banned. I know. Well, that's me. Why? I'm paranoid it's the same guy, but this account is probably older. He's got 200, 300 games. Maybe he's just playing a really good game. I just don't expect this tough competition from a 1300. He's still only a tiny bit worse here. I mean, I would expect this kind of game from a grandmaster, you know, kind of unambitious grandmaster. That's odd. He made the same blunder that yesterday's 900 guy did, like a tactical oversight with e6. Exact same thing. Like every other move, like reasonable, but he blundered a tactic on e6. Exactly like the 900 yesterday. The most obvious tactic in the world. Strange. Doesn't really make sense that he could play the whole game that well and overlook that. That's my paranoid, delusional mentality, whatever. But if this guy can really play that well strategically, I think the tactics are the easiest thing to improve, to be honest. I mean, all you have to do is practice doing combinations. It's really not that difficult. It's so easy. Tactics are easy. You know, the hard part of the game is strategy. If this guy is 1300 and all he needs to do is improve his tactics, he could easily be like 2000 in a year or something. If he just worked on tactics, you know, combination problems. How much work does that take, you know? That's why I would never like spend lessons doing tactics problems with students. I mean, this is something you have to work on your own. It's so easy to improve. strategy, strategy can take a lifetime to learn, and plus you can develop a lot of bad habits that are hard to break. So, I mean, if Geezer really is that good, that he can play the opening well and the middle game, and just improve the tactics part, he could be like 800 points higher in a year. All right. What are we at now? One more game. Tanager, man. Crush King challenge me. Yeah. Crush King, that's funny, dude. All right. Tanager, man, last game. he needs to just to get a copy of CT Art. Really good combination program by Block, for example, or just old school, you get a copy of the Encyclopedia of Chess Middle Games and just play through all the problems. I just think the tactics are much easier to learn than strategy. Orbitich said, playing lots of bullet chess has really improved my tactics. Hasn't been beneficial for strategical play at all. Right. Well, yeah. Bullet chess, no. Blitz, probably, yes. Diminishing returns, the faster the time control is, as far as improving your strategic play. Tanager, man, good variation. This line is pretty annoying for black. I had this against the brother of FIDE Levente. I'm just trying to remember if I had tried to justify knight f6 long ago in my analyses. The problem with knight f6 is that after e5 you don't have a good place to go. Knight g4, bishop takes f7 check, and knight g5 check, that type of stuff. So I guess long ago I figured out you have to do like e6 here. It's basically like a really good bishop c4 against the Sicilian formation. Yeah, that's why I don't play bullet chess. My tactics need improvement though. I'm not sharp enough. I recently started doing some tactics problems again. I hadn't worked on it for a long time, but I should play more blitz off stream because I'm a little bit rusty tactically. I have good creative vision for tactics, but I miss a lot of simple moves. I'm definitely more likely to miss like a simple tactic than an average player about my rating. I think I'm stronger in other aspects. But actually I enjoy playing tactical and open positions. I'm just a little slow. I need to shake the rust off. So Tanager Man playing, I think, kind of passively. It's perfectly okay in general. But if we step back, he should play d4, and that's probably like the main line for this sort of variation. For my part, the thing is, if I do d5, I'm not in love with this kind of formation, this kind of structure. I don't really like playing the d5 type of structures. Having the flexibility to go d6, I prefer. Last game for today, guys. We're going to be back tomorrow with Fast Friday, my favorite time control. Not 5+3, rather than the classical chess we've been playing in midweek. I don't know. I mean, I'm looking at like knight a5, offsides, stupid move. d5 is okay. a6 is possible, b6. castles. I guess objectively, again, we have one of the situations where I should consider some sort of simplifying line, d5, d takes e, with equality or something like that. But I don't want to draw against a much lower rated player. With like constant change, it was okay. He's 2250. My opponent here is much lower rated, around 1600. I don't want to play d5, trade e-pawns and trade queens into a drawish endgame. I really have to try for more. Knight a5 is interesting, but bishop b5, a6, bishop a4, b5, bishop c2. I mean, at the end of the day, I have a knight off sides, and I still haven't resolved my king side. Wasting a lot of time here, but it's kind of a critical moment. It's a very critical moment. Maybe I'll play d6 in this position. Kind of a waiting game. If you play d4, I'll play d5. If you don't play d4, I'm not going to do anything. And we'll try to get into a structure I feel more comfortable with. It must be frustrating for grandmasters. Well, I told the story about this kind of jerk, Yevgeny Romanov, who I played last year in Zalakarosh, and I did not play for a draw. It was my first serious open tournament in 6 years, and I just played like really solidly, and he couldn't do anything. But it ended up in a relatively equal position, where he tortured me a little bit, and it was a draw. And then he makes this comment after the game that I played for a draw. I was in a state of shock because I'm just not accustomed to that, you know. And I guess we have to cut him a little bit of slack, because there is that going on. You know, a lot of people really do play for draws. But this guy was in paranoid, you know. Either he was just trying to troll me because he was angry because he didn't win, or play mind games or something. But he also said it to, you know, his last round opponent too, who was a GM. So it's, yeah, I mean, they start to think that everybody's playing for draw or something. I mean, I wasn't playing for a draw, but I'm not going to go out of my way to sacrifice 3 pieces against the guy who's like 2650, you know? I mean, how do you expect me to play like my first tournament game in a serious, not my first tournament game, but my first open tournament in 6 years? Am I going to just come out of the gate like playing the King's Gambit and sacrificing 3 pieces? Or what do you expect me to do, you know? I don't want to embarrass myself after not playing a serious tournament in like 5 years. He was just totally off base. But along that line of thought, you know, I guess we have to give them a little bit of a break, because, yeah, of course people play for draws. It's not that easy, though. Another concept I brought up like a couple weeks ago was an interesting question about something like, speaking of draws against higher rated players and the like. I like the way the Tanager man is playing this, by the way. F6. I just don't know if I can afford to play F6 here. Just don't think so. Queen d7. Maybe I have to play f6. We ever played this guy before? We've never played him before. 1200 in bullet, 1590. This is a weird position. So my thought was, I think it's actually harder to draw a top GM who's 2600 than it is to beat a 2200. You know, it's something to think about in terms of the rating system. In terms of effort and skill, it is actually probably harder to draw 2600 than it is to beat a 2200. And maybe that should be reflected in the rating system. You know, I think this is an interesting talking point. What do you think, Justice Bot? All right, you have to go. talking about pate, goose liver pate in the stream. It's a very classy stream we have here. Wow, d4. Just when I thought it was safe to get out of the water. Tanager man with a random move. I sort of think you have a good game here. Look at your pieces. Super funky system. They're coming to life, though. But I think that d4 is probably the wrong idea. White should just try to keep it going, you know, with some of queen d2. Maybe I have knight a5, some tricks. Another possible move was bishop b5. Not that d4 is horrible, I guess. But it doesn't pose any devastating threats. Maybe white is still better. To find a good move. Knight e5, queen d6, knight b5, queen b4, bishop d2. Queen e7. Probably not good. Bishop takes d5, losing a piece for me. Another thing I've noticed that is happening in chess, in the chess world, which is relevant to my last game and this game, where my opponents are much, much lower rated than me. Chess is changing and people's knowledge of the game is changing. You know, it used to be that there was no way that a low-rated player would play well in the opening. But information in the opening is becoming much more readily available. I wonder if I should consider just a6 here. Maybe not a bad idea. No, a6, knight e5, bishop takes it. Maybe a6 is a good move. Is our queen, like, getting trapped? Queen not getting trapped. People are capable of playing the opening stage much, much better than they used to be able to. That's what I'm talking about. Like this guy, for example. Queen d6. Scary how active all of white's pieces are. Every move a threat. And if queen b4, bishop d2, queen is nearly trapped there. You know the saying about horseshoes. But yet another impressive game by a low-rated player, 1590. And I have to be very, very precise. Not to be worse, or to maintain some advantage here. One slip and I'm like dead. How active white's pieces are. It's easier to improve in the opening. It's easier to improve tactics. What's not easy to improve is strategic play, which is what I really try to focus on, both in the stream and in my lessons. It takes time, but openings and tactics you can learn fairly quickly. Of course, with openings, it takes some judgment, you know, on a more higher level, a more sophisticated level, like what openings are a good fit for different kinds of players and stuff. Guys, we're pretty late here. It's 12:40. This guy's worth every rating point. I mean, he's dynamic, he's fairly fast. I can't imagine how he could be 1297 in bullet. Everybody's tough. It's hard to win a single game against anybody. Now 95. Kind of a typical structure. We have to play IQP positions. Tanager, man. I thought knight g4 was the whole idea, kind of aiming at the h6 hole. Instantly playing this move. That's pretty advanced. This guy is really, really good for his rating. Really good. I mean, the piece coordination, I mean, I should be able to beat 1600s easily. And this guy is making me worry about my position. You're just getting old. Everyone seems to be good. Well, I mean, I don't think he made any really bad moves. I'm just getting old. Don't emphasize it anymore. Believe me, I know. I think about it every day. That's all you can think about. Tanager, man, you're just going to lose on time here? Do I have anything better? He had to make, well, he didn't have to make, he made a passive move in time pressure. Wow. This was a good game. You know, not like Grandmaster good, but really solid. So it's like dead equal. Queen A3. Absolute equality. 23 moves. Let me see. White make any mistakes in this game? Well, he made hesitant moves, you know. Like, apparently this was played by some randoms, but I don't like rook e1. I mean, d4 is the right move here. So, he hesitated a little bit. d3 is too hesitant. Nissa Piano actually played this position back in 2000. I like d6. Anyway. Was I ever in trouble? I guess that's the most interesting question. Apparently not. I feel like I'm playing the Grunfeld. I didn't really like d4, but anyway. Anyway, it's okay. He gave up his white square bishop. The only really suspicious decision by white. Yeah, here probably knight g4. Oh, knight d3. Okay, that's another possibility, even better. But I didn't like knight f3. Yeah, good game. Alright, guys. Anyway, time at the end. At the end, he made a mistake with bishop e3, and I'm slightly better. But, I mean, this is a good game for a guy whose online rating is 1600. We will be back tomorrow. Fast Friday, 5+3 chess against viewers. Thanks, everyone, for joining us today. Thanks, JusticeBot, for hanging out with us and pointing out how old I am. I'm just kidding, man. I know. Look at it. Inaccuracy 0, mistake 0, blunder 0. I'm getting old, but I'm like an old computer, you know. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks, Pro, for moderating. And I'd also like to remind everyone I have a YouTube channel, Video Chess Training on YouTube. Upload all the streams there and other good stuff. Like tomorrow I'm going to upload a video where I'm analyzing one of my games for the first time together here on a YouTube video. Also, I'd like to remind everyone that I appreciate and welcome donations to support the stream and my YouTube channel via PayPal. If you can do that, just $5 or $10 a year really helps out. So thank you for those of you that have gone and done that. You're awesome. Everybody else, if you can't afford it, just hang out with us, contribute by playing and analyzing and having some fun here. All right, guys, take care. Later. Bye-bye.